Hello there, everyone. My name is Crazy Caleb, and welcome to Simon Shouts. So this is the way the module looks. It's got a little diamond shape with each four buttons, and a little center with each different colors, as present as well. So what we need to do is we need to navigate in this grid here through a series of different presses. Now, the buttons, of course, will not be simply up, left, down, and right. It will be a lot more complicated than that. So what we need to do is we need to first figure out our end position and our current position, both respectively. So what we're going to do is let's note down the colors on the buttons because that's going to be our ending position, and we'll note down the colors in the center, being our current position. So I'm actually going to do this a little bit out of order. So I want to find our current position first, and I want to find our ending position second. So we're going to take a look at the center ones here. So we have red, green, red, green for our first one. And what exactly are we going to be doing with this? We're going to rotate the four buttons clockwise by an angle obtained from table A. But for this one, we're going to be using the number of batteries, modulo 4. So let's count the number of batteries we have on the bomb, which is going to be 2. So we have 2 batteries. So we're going to be rotating this 225 degrees. Now, wait just a second. What exactly does this mean? This is a little bit interesting of an angle to rotate from. So I'm going to simplify this for you a little bit. So notice that the 0 represents 45 degrees. And what we can do is we rotate 45 degrees. That takes red to the top right. And actually, already what you can see here is this actually becomes, instead of a diamond, this becomes a square. So what the 45 degrees does to us is it does green red and green red, just like that. It makes the diamond into a square, rotating it clockwise. You will always rotate clockwise in this case. Just keep that in mind. And let's take a look. So if we were to rotate this 45 degrees clockwise, now, for those of you who happen to do math, 45 plus 90 degrees gets us to 135. We have to do one 90-degree rotation, and then plus another 90 gets us to 225. So for what you will always be doing is you will always be doing a 45 degrees to get us into a square, and then you will simply be doing a series of 90-degree rotations based off of whatever number you get here. So 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to be doing 2 90-degree rotations around this little 2x2 grid that we have here. So what we're going to do, and this is always going to be clockwise, so we're going to do red, and we're going to put you in the bottom right, and we're going to put green up in the top left, and just like that, we've already rotated 90 degrees clockwise. We're going to do the same thing. Green, we're going to put you in the bottom right, and that red, we're going to put you in the top right and the top left. And just like that, this is going to be our starting position. Now, we're going to look for red, red, and green, green in the actual display. In the actual module here on this actual grid. And we're going to be taking a look here. So we have red, red, and green, green right here. And we're going to highlight the intersection of that. That's the way that the highlights work for this. Is it's going to be highlighting the intersection because that's essentially the current position that you're at is in the dead center of all of these guys. So next up, let's take a look at the and we don't need this diamond anymore. The next thing we're going to take a look is at the buttons that we have present here. So we're going to get these colors here. So we have yellow, blue, blue, and green. Green, that's a green. And next up, we're going to rotate these guys similarly to table A, but we're going to do this by the number of ports, modulo 4. So we're going to do this by the number of ports, which we have one port present being a parallel, and that is what we're going to focus on. We're going to do a 135-degree rotation, or simply 45 degrees clockwise to make it into the diamond. So let's move this guy down. So we're going to do this. We're going to make this into a square. So blue, yellow, green, blue for our 45 degrees, and simply rotate this one time 90 degrees clockwise. So we're going to do yellow down in the bottom right, blue in the bottom left, green in the top left, and blue in the top right. And just like that, this is going to be our ending location. So I'm going to put this below the red, green, because that's our current position. Or starting position, rather. It is still our current position. And they're going to find this in the grid now. This is probably the hardest part of this module, is actually finding it in the grid, because there can be a lot of things that you have to do, and there can be a lot of similar rotations to what you're actually looking at here. So, for example, let's take a look around here. Oh, and here we go. We found it right here. So this is, so green is in the top left, blue is in the top right, blue is in the bottom left, and yellow is in the bottom right. Just like that is what we're looking for. So next up, what we're going to be doing is we're going to need to figure out the movements of which each of the buttons move, because each of the buttons actually don't move up, left, down, and right, as you would expect them to. Each button is flashing a Morse code character that indicates, letter specifically, as described by diagram B, what movement in the grid it will be performed. For those of you who are familiar with not word search, what's going to happen is we're going to start from the center of the grid, and we're going to find that character, and we're essentially going to do that rotation. So for example, if we have a golf, we're going to be moving one left and one up from that position, which means that's what each button is going to move. Likewise with Yankee, one right, two downs. We're gonna do one right and two downs, and that's the way that this is gonna work. So one right and two downs would take us to that blue, green, green, green right there, and that's what we're gonna do for each letter. Is we're gonna need to figure out what each movement does. So let's figure out what each Morse character letter is. So we have, looking up here, we have dash, dash, dash. Thankfully enough, we have a Morse code character, Morse code table below here. So that's an Oscar. Dot, dash, dot, dot, which is a Lima. And we have, I believe it was dash, dash, dot, and dot. Yep, that's Zulu. And finally, dot, dash, Alpha. Perfect. So we're going to find each of these characters in the grid, which represent each of our buttons that we're going to press and each of our movements that we're going to do. So we're going to have Oscar, Alpha, Lima, and Zulu, which happens to be, okay, so Alpha moves us 3 up, Zulu moves us 3 down, Lima moves us 2 to the left, and Oscar moves us 2 to the right, which happens to be a bit interesting considering what we got here. I was not expecting to get this example. So, what exactly are we going to be doing with this case? So we're going to be moving around and navigating from the current position to the goal position. However, the catch with this is very, very interesting, and it's very, very tricky, because this module, you have to move around a lot, but of course, you have to be careful with how you move. So we're going to be not navigating onto any position where any of the colors match the corresponding color in the goal position. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? So taking a look at the goal position over here on the right side, we have green in the top left position, blue in the top right position, blue in the bottom left position, and yellow in the bottom right position. What this means is that we cannot navigate to any of these positions with any of those colors. So for example, if I went to Oscar, if I went through Oscar here, if we went 1, 2 to the right, green happens to be in the top left, and I'll show you what I mean by that.
No, I can't accept it. I'm not persuaded.
It would give us a strike because green is in the top left position, and green is in the top left position in the ending position, so we cannot navigate to that position. That's what makes this module extremely tricky. So one of the things that I might be thinking of doing is I actually might be thinking of looping around, because this grid, as if I haven't happened to mention already, this grid wraps around in both dimensions, is a Diffusion torus. So perhaps what we could do is actually we can make this really simple, and we can simply just go left twice over to these green, red, and yellow, red over here, which happens to not have any of the same positions, because green is top right, which is not blue. Red is bottom right, which is not yellow. Yellow is top left, which is not green, and red is bottom left, which is not blue. This would actually work in a good position. So we're gonna go 2 to the left, which is a Lima. So we're gonna hit left, and the center will change, and you'll hear a little guitar sound, which is a Simon Shouts sound. I like this sound a lot, mind you. And the grid will change, and if we happen to do the same rotation that we did before, which was we had 2 batteries in the bomb. If we happen to do the rotation like that, so it's currently, if we make it into a square, it's red, red, green, yellow. We happen to do the same rotation twice, so we're going to put red down in the bottom right, green up in the top left now, then red down in the bottom right, and yellow up in the top right. it happens to create the exact same grid that we're at. So we're at yellow, green in the top left and top right, respectively, and then red, red in the bottom left and bottom right. It creates the exact same sequence. It's just rotated accordingly. So there's a way that you can actually keep track of the module. So next up, let's try and see what else we can do. Let's see if we can get, because I think what we can do is we can either get left twice, 1, 2, and then down 3 times, or we can essentially get down 3 times and then left twice. Let's try and do left twice, then down 3 times, and let's see if we run into any problems here. So left twice, which is the lemma, would take us 1, 2 to the center, which would be blue, green, red, blue. Taking a look at our ending position here, none of the actual positions match the colors of which they are in position. Blue is in the bottom, blue is in the top left, which is not green. Green is in the top right, which is not blue. Red is in the bottom left, which is not blue. And blue is in the bottom right, which is not yellow. So this would be a permissible move. So let's move left. Okay. And just like that, now we're 3 spaces away down from the actual ending position, which means we can travel on Zulu. Zulu being our final position, we can press Zulu to get from here down 1, 2, and 3 to our ending position. So let's press Zulu. And just like that is a solved module. Let's go over one more example, and I'll explain to you how tricky this module can be to get to an actual position. And let's hope we don't get movements like these again, because that's pretty funny how I got those movements. But yes, if we happen to actually look, let's take a look at if we happen to go down 3 times first. Already taking a look, the top left position would be green, so that already would not be a permissible move. That would not work for us. So we actually would not have been able to go down first and left twice. So we actually got really lucky there. Let's take a look at one final example, and I'll get back to you when I have that example loaded up. All right, and we're back. Apologies for that. So now, let's take a look at one final example. This module is pretty straightforward of how the rotations work. It's just finding your way to navigate through each grid can be very, very tricky. So let's take a look at what we have here. So let's get the current position. So we have the number of batteries, modulo 4, which happens to be 0. So that means all we have to do is essentially rotate this 45 degrees and make the center into a square. So our current position is going to be blue, yellow, red, blue. Because rotating this clockwise, for example, the yellow, if we happen to just essentially turn the entire square into a square, turn the entire diamond into a square, that would make blue top left, yellow top right, red bottom left, and blue bottom right. That is going to be our starting position on the grid. Let's see if we can find this guy, because this is going to be a hell of a nightmare. We have blue, yellow, then red, blue, blue, yellow, then red, blue. Blue, yellow, red, red, not quite. Red up alarm clock. Blue, yellow, red, blue. Oh, and this is exactly what I mean. This is a perfect example to explain how the actual grid can wrap around, and you can actually get some corresponding color positions that happen to be on the top row and the bottom row, or the left row and the right row. So, blue, yellow is our top left and top right, and red and blue is our bottom left and bottom right. So this is going to be our ending position right here. I mean, this is going to be our starting position where we have it right here. And next up, let's see what we have here for our ending position. This is a little bit of a weird one, but it's the way that it works. So trust me on it. So next up, we need to look at the number of ports to see what we're going to be rotating here. And we have 1 port present, so we're going to be rotating this 135 degrees, or simply making it into a square, and then rotating it 90 degrees clockwise. So we have red, blue, yellow, red. So that's going to transform, turning it 45 degrees clockwise into a square. Is going to be red, red, then yellow, blue. Then we're going to do 90 degrees clockwise, making U into red goes to the bottom right, yellow goes to the top left, and just like that we have our square. So now we need to find yellow, red, blue, red. So yellow, red, and then blue, red. Yellow, red, blue, yellow, not quite. Very close though. Yellow, red. Oh my god, it's another case. Yellow, red in the top left, top right, and then blue, red. Oh my gosh. Okay, in the bottom left and bottom right. Okay, these are really close together, which is really nice. But of course, this could prove consequential if we happen to get some really unfortunate letters. But that's insane how they're both on the edge. Okay, cool. So now let's take a look at our characters that are flashing. So we have dash, dot, which is a November. Then we have, on the left side, we have dot, 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 dash, dot, 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 dash, which is a Victor. Then dot, 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 which is a Sierra. And then lastly, dot, dot, dash, dot, which is a Foxtrot. And these are the letters that we're going to be working with here. So let's find November. November is one right. Victor. Victor is going to be, okay, come on. We have right, right, down, two rights, and then one down for Victor. Next up is going to be Sierra. Sierra is simply one down. And Foxtrot. Foxtrot is going to be up once, left twice. Okay, this could be very interesting, and this could actually get a little bit funky. So we're currently at the blue, yellow, and then red, blue. So we need to figure out how we're going to get left three times. So let's take a look and see if we can figure some things out, because this actually might take a while. It looks very close, but of course, there are a lot of colors that are really similar to the position that we're at, and we need to make sure that we avoid yellow, red, blue, yellow in these positions here. So let's try and see what we can do. So, let's try to see if we can do Foxtrot, see if we can get anywhere close. So we have up, then left, left. And let's take a look at what we have here. So we have blue in the top left. That does not correspond to yellow. That's good. That's promising. Then yellow is in the top right. That means red is not in the top right. That's good. Red is in the bottom left, which means blue is in the bottom left. So that's not true. So that's good. And then yellow is in the bottom right, which does not correspond to red being in the bottom right, which means that yellow is going up to Foxtrot is true. So that means we can press Foxtrot to get to this position right here. Let's press Foxtrot, which is the down arrow, and that works. Now what we need to do is we need to find a way to get left down. And we actually don't have any of those options. We have the ability to do maybe another, perhaps another Foxtrot, maybe? That's a bit risky, and it's going a little bit far. We can go down, but we can't go left. That makes things a little bit not nice. For Sierra, if we pressed Sierra and we went down, would we come into any discrepancies? So, red being in the top left, yellow being in the top right. None of those are good. So none of those are bad so far. Red being in the bottom left, yellow being in the bottom right. That makes sense. Okay, so that actually would work too. We can press Sierra in this instance. So we can press the right button, which is Sierra, and that would work. Now, this is where things get a little interesting. It's so close yet so far. Perhaps we can press Foxtrot again and see if we can get a November and Sierra, and see if we can actually press Foxtrot in the first place. So we can go up, left, left, and let's see if we have any matching characters here. So we have blue in the we have blue in the top left, which does not match. Blue in the top right, which does not match the red. Green in the bottom left, which does not match the blue, and yellow in the bottom right, which does not match the red. So this actually would work. So let's press Foxtrot. So let's press Foxtrot again. So Foxtrot was in the down position. That works. So now we're currently right here. And we need to go either right down or down right. And let's take a look at what we can do. Already taking a look, if we go to the right, the red in the bottom right position corresponds to the red in the bottom right position of our goal position, which means we cannot go that way. However, if we go down first, we have green in the top left, which does not match the yellow. Yellow in the top right, which does not match the yellow, or which does not match the red, excuse me. And if we look over at the top here, we have red in the bottom left, which does not match the blue. And we have blue in the bottom right, which does not match the red. So this would work. So all we need to do is we simply need to go down and then right. If we need to press Sierra first, and then November. We need to press Sierra first, and then November. And just like that is a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.